Coach is going to open up with a comment, and then we'll start with questions. Go ahead, Coach.
Okay, well, this will be our last full team workout, and rookies will be here a little bit longer in June. But it's certainly been good to get the team on the field, and to see everybody participate. Or the ones that can't participate. We have a few guys that are in various stages of rehabilitation and so forth, but. Yeah, it's good to see the guys that are out there. Some new players that we haven't worked with before, and so that's been good. I think the attitude's been good, work ethic's been good, and we obviously have a long way to go, but we've certainly made a lot of progress, covered a lot of ground here. So try to finish up with a good day here today, and then get ready for training camp.
We'll open up for questions. We'll start with Mike Reese, followed by Bob Sosa.
Bill, just building off sort of what you just started with there, I was going to ask you, I think this is the 13th spring practice. So how would you sort of sum up what was accomplished? And as you look ahead to tying up any loose ends, might there be any update on joint practices, which I think you had mentioned before was a possibility a couple weeks ago?
Right. Yeah, we're still working through some details and logistics on the training camp, and that includes some whatever we might do with another team. We still really don't have any or a great direction from the league on training camp. We have some information, but there's still some other information that is outstanding, and so when we get everything, we'll put it all together, but we're not quite there yet. I'd say to summarize the spring, really, it's been a build-up. We started, with a foundation and a lot of individual fundamental type things, and gradually built those into group settings. And as you've seen the last couple days, more team oriented things, whether it be punt protection and blitz pickup and things like that are kind of moving forward, that we didn't engage in a couple weeks ago, wouldn't have been ready to deal with at that point. So again, we have a long way to go. We have a lot of things to cover, but at least we've, let's say, gotten a start into the majority of things that at least we started on them. 2-minute red area, third down, special teams units, those kind of things. So I feel like at least when we get to training camp, we'll be the first time through on that stuff.
Bob Sosi, followed by Joe Chiara.
Thanks, Jason. Good morning, Bill.
Hey, Bob.
Bill, Henry Anderson is a guy you've played against numerous times, obviously, in the division, and before that, before he was a Jet with the Colts. What have you seen firsthand now working with him in these OTAs to reaffirm the decision to sign him in the offseason?
Yeah, well, Henry's a smart player, and he's got quite a bit of experience, and he's been in different systems and done different things. He's really played all the way across the front, from the end of the line to interior positions, but he picks things up quickly, and but so it's been good to get to have him working with other players, and communications with various linebackers and defensive linemen, and we've rolled through a lot of combinations, as I'm sure you've seen out there, and but his experience and intelligence and overall understanding of the concepts and both the running game and the passing game have been good. He's been really good to work with, and look forward to working with him more in training camp.
Thank you.
Sure.
Next question, Joe Chiara, followed by Tom Kern.
Good morning, Bill. How are you?
Hey, Joe.
Damian Harris, can you just talk about his growth over the last 2 seasons, but especially last year and now leading up through this offseason in the growth of him as a player?
Yeah, Damian works extremely hard, works at all phases, all aspects of his game. Certainly his conditioning and training, the running game, passing game, protection, route running, catching the ball. He's a hardworking kid that's just tries to do whatever he can to help the team, and he's got a lot of skill and can contribute in a variety of ways, and he's looking to improve and upgrade where he is in every area. So Ivan and Vinny, worked hard with Damien. He's responded well, and I think he's off to a real good start in preparation for the season.
Next question, Tom Curran, followed by Phil Perry.
Hey, Bill. I'm wondering, relative to Steph Gilmore, his not being here, not to get into the whole situation, but do you know where he is? Have you seen him so that you have a working knowledge of how he's come back from his quad surgery?
Yeah, I think, again, I'll keep the conversations between myself and the player private, and certainly not going to get into injury reports now. It's a little early for that, Tom.
All right. Is there another way for me to come at this thing? You've been down this road dozens and dozens of times over the years, so not speaking specifically on him. It's a process. It's not. What level of crisis would you put this at? I'm saying it's about a 1.8 right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really do levels.
You should. It makes things so much easier.
Everybody wants a number.
Everybody wants a number. All right. Well, took a run at it. See you.
I will go to Phil Perry, followed by Chris Gasper.
Hey, Bill, I wanted to ask you about something that we heard from both Cam and Devin yesterday. They were asked about Mac Jones, and they sort of mentioned something along the lines of how he's fitting in as a leader, and Devin mentioned that's just something that kind of goes with that position. It's inherent to that spot. But I want to ask you, how difficult might it be for a young player at that position like Mac to kind of grow into that part of the role, the leadership part of it, when there's already, a more well-established leader, a big personality like Cam, obviously already on the roster?
Yeah, well, I think those things will happen naturally and run their course. I think right now, all of our rookies need to really focus and concentrate on becoming a professional football player, making that commitment in all the areas that they need to make it in, learning the plays, the playbook, the techniques that go with the plays, the adjustments that go with the plays, and be ready to execute their assignments and their job. And until anybody can do that, I don't really think there's very much leadership that takes place. Like, we all have to be able to do our job, and until we can do a good job at what our job is, then it's hard to earn the respect of the other people that are on the team. So it's got to start there, and that's where it is starting. So we'll see how that goes. I think that'll all happen, in some kind of natural pattern. Well, we'll see.
Thank you.
We'll go Chris Gasper, followed by Ian Steele.
Bill, I hope this finds you well. A little bit of a different one for you. Jimmy Garoppolo has said you stayed in touch with him, including congratulating him when you led the 49ers to the Super Bowl. So I was just wondering if, like Robert Kraft, you've reached out at all to Tom Brady this offseason to congratulate him on winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah, again, Chris, I think I'll keep those conversations privately between myself and the other people that are involved. Appreciate the question.
Thanks, Bill.
Next question, Ian Steele, followed by Butch Stearns.
Morning, Bill.
Hey, Ian.
Back to Mac Jones. How have you seen him kind of digest and kind of figure out the playbook and the situations that you throw at him as you add more to his plate as the spring and summer goes along? How have you seen him kind of adjust to those things?
Yeah, well, like all players, all young players, a lot of newness, a lot of new experiences, a lot of new terminology. The first or second time through, it's learning. After that, it's more of an opportunity to do something you've done before and increase the level of competition or level of execution. And so I think that's where Mac is. That's where all of our rookies are. When things happen that they haven't seen or experienced or heard before, there's a big learning curve, but that curve flattens out a little bit as things happen repeatedly and get more comfortable with it and execute it better. So that's going to be taking place for quite a while for I would say all of our rookies at every position.
Next question, Butch Stearns, followed by Zach Cox.
Hey, Bill, how are you?
Good, Butch. How's it going?
Good. Devin yesterday was talking about considering that at this time last year, everything was virtual and you didn't have the ability to be together in the locker room and on the field together, and how vital that is for building relationships and leading to winning. Can you just echo that sentiment and talk about how grateful you are to be able to get back to some normalcy this year?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. And yeah, it's been great. I mean, I always enjoy this process of meeting the new players wherever they come from, college or another pro team or whatever the case might be, and working with them and see the team grow and develop and come together at this stage, which is very early, but it's an important starting point that every team has to experience. So yeah, very grateful to be able to do that, to have in-person meetings with our coaches and other staff members, support staff members that are so integral to the team's operation and success in all the different departments. So we've had a lot of, I would say, growth this spring in those areas, and part of that is because of the restrictions from last year. So we've had to combine some things or make up for a little bit of lost time. But yeah, very very much appreciate the opportunity to have a kind of a normal spring and have normal relationships with your team, and that's been I very much appreciate and am thankful that we have that opportunity this year.
And can you add some insight into Devin's comment about how building these relationships at this time of year leads to winning later in the season?
Yeah, well, again, this is a time of year when there's more time for interpersonal relationships. You get into the season and they certainly happen then too, but everybody's focusing on their job and the scouting report and the game plan and their assignments and studying film and packing a lot into a day and a week of preparations for the game and personal training and recovery and rest and so forth. And a lot of that's individual, as it should be, and a lot of it's very team oriented, but there's a little bit less time for so I would say some of the interpersonal relationships and interactions, whereas now the days are shorter, there's a little more time, there's time to interact with other teammates, other families, go do things. It's just everybody's here and there's a little more time to do that. So I think that's a very good observation. Again, not that it doesn't occur during the season, it definitely does, but I'd say the opportunities are just a little bit better at this time of year.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Butch.
Sorry, we're not going to get to everybody here, but I'll take two final questions. We're going to go Zach Cox, followed by Chris Ryan.
Morning, Bill.
Hey, Zach.
I want to ask you about Jalen Mills. When you bring in a player like him who has played so many different positions in the past and can play so many different positions, do you use this time of the year to kind of experiment with him in multiple spots and see where he fits in best? Or did you already kind of have a pretty firm plan of where you want to use him when you signed him?
Well, I think it's always good to have firsthand experience with the player, to be able to be with them in meetings and walkthroughs and then practices and to see how see how things work with that individual player. And Jalen's been great. He's obviously has experience, but he's a sharp kid. He's played a lot of positions, as you referenced, and has a pretty good overall understanding, grasp, and instinctiveness about playing football, regardless of what the position is. So the fact that he, like many others, have worked at multiple spots just gives them a better conceptual understanding of what we're doing. So instead of just learning and sometimes, in some cases, memorizing, particular assignments for one spot, when you play multiple spots, it helps you to learn and understand not only what you're doing, but what the guy beside you is doing or the guy around you is doing, and how you can help him or how you guys can work together on certain problems that are created by the other side of the ball. So Jalen's experience throughout the defense, playing in different spots this spring, which we've done that with all the defensive backs and the linebackers and the defensive linemen for that matter too. They've all played multiple positions, and that I think helps them learn the overall concept of what we're trying to do defensively on a particular call.
Thank you.
And
Sure.
the last question for Coach, we'll go to Chris Ryan.
Morning, Bill. How are you?
Hey, Chris.
Wanted to ask you a little bit about what you've seen from Cam and your assessment of him both on the field and behind the scenes. And he talked about kind of taking some excuse-type words out of his vernacular, having a determined approach. What has been your assessment of working with him through minicamp?
Yeah, pretty much the same as what it was last year. Cam works hard. He's very professional. Really does a great job of doing what you ask him to do, trying to do what you ask him to do the best that he can, and to run and give leadership to the team, which he does that on a very consistent basis throughout the day, day to day, hour to hour. It's he does a good job of all that.
Thanks.
Yep. All right. I just before we sign off here, just wanted to take a couple minutes and, if I could, and just again formally recognize Ernie and the contributions that he's made to this organization and frankly, to myself and the league. Ernie's had such a big impact on our success here with the Patriots. In so many different ways, from his organization with Scott in the personnel department and the grading scale and so forth, to strategic coaching, situationally, game planning, in all three phases of the game: offense, defense, special teams, team building, personnel acquisition, and so forth. I've leaned heavily on Ernie for the 21 years here, and going back to Cleveland and New York, and our relationship, which started at Andover over 50 years ago. So Ernie's been a great friend. He's certainly been a great asset to this organization and to me personally. And I think that a lot of the things that he's done have also been recognized by other coaches and other staffs in the league, and a lot of people that are doing things that he does in different organizations. But I mean, some of the things that he really, I'd say, started and uncovered and showed the value of them here. But his versatility and ability to do so many different things and his passion for football is really second to none. And this will be his final practice today. We'll miss him, but always welcome him back. Hopefully he'll come back and visit us. I'm sure he will. But just have a personal appreciation for Ernie and all that he's done, and on behalf of the organization, want to thank him as well. And Ernie's one to kind of stay behind the scenes, but we're going to put them out in front for you here this morning as a special thank you to all of you who've participated in this call. And Stacy, turn it over to you and Ernie here, and give you guys a chance to fire at Ernie like you fire away at me. So thank you, and we'll see you in training camp. And I'm going to step aside here and let Ernie take this seat. Ernie?